All right, number 23, just like number 22, is a whole passage question, meaning that there's not just one line that answers this. There's a repeated pattern throughout the passage that we're going to have to use to answer it. And since I don't read the passages, I just read the lines that I'm told, yeah, there's a chance that I missed something. However, I trust in what I call the 50% rule. Basically what this rule is that if you understood and read 50% of the passage, you're going to understand enough to be able to answer any question that's about the whole passage. This is a pretty solid rule. There are very, very few cases where you miss something because you didn't need to read it for another question. So I trust this pretty well. And it basically means that you can skip around, or you can just kind of not worry when you don't understand something. There's a lot of science in this passage, a lot of chemicals and weird things, and that might make you feel like you don't know what's going on. Honestly, it probably doesn't matter, especially because this question is not really asking you to understand the science. It's asking you to understand the structure of the passage and the kinds of evidence and reasoning that these authors use to make their point. So if I understood 50%, I should understand this. So let's look at these choices. So what type of evidence did they use? Direct observation. Well, if you don't know what that means, you're going to have to skip this choice, but that just means like things that they saw. Right? They saw the number of beetles or the number of bees that came to a plant. Anytime we have data about what happened, that's the result of direct observation. So that looks pretty good. B, historical data. No, for sure. I didn't remember reading anything about like what they thought about bees in the past or past experiments. This is not about the past. This is an experiment happening right now. C, expert testimony. Well, Theus and Adler, the people that kind of star in this passage, seem to be experts. But it's not really like we're answering everything in the passage based on what they think. They're actually doing science and conducting an experiment to prove what they think. So expert testimony would be like if people who were scientists were just kind of constantly quoted throughout this passage as experts, and just that's all we were given is, oh, okay, well, if this person says it's true, it must be true. That's not what's happening. They're doing an experiment to figure out what must be true, not relying on other people's opinions. So that is also wrong. And D, random sampling, well, that's like when you go, that's like when you conduct a survey and you try to ask a bunch of people, like a political poll would use a random sample and be like, who are you going to vote for? And then they put all those numbers together to determine who's going to win. So that's not at all what's going on here. This experiment is not random sampling. It's a controlled experiment where they do certain things to different plants, right? Some of them have more fragrance, some of them have the normal amount, some of them have beetles, some of them don't. They're very much controlling the process. Nothing's random here. It's controlled. So that's wrong for a lot of reasons, but honestly, direct observation is just what at least 50% of this passage is about. It's about an experiment. They directly observe the results. And so I don't need to know every single line or every single ounce of this science to really understand what direct observation is. I know that they conducted an experiment. I don't really care what the experiment was. It doesn't matter for this question. Trust in the 50% rule, and you can get a lot of these whole passage questions with minimal understanding of the passage. It's totally okay. It might not feel good, but you'll look at your answers. I guarantee you'll get more right than you think.